Young and Restless's Nate has been working overtime, not in the C-suite, but in trying to convince his detractors that he really most sincerely does not have his eye on the coveted CEO seat at Newman Enterprises. Despite his calm reassurances, however, viewers know that his ambition for power won't settle for anything less, and his next move may be his most calculating and cold yet. Victoria recognized that she and Nate were birds of a feather after he teamed with her in an attempted takeover of his cousin's company, Chancellor Winters. They were unsuccessful because their plan was outed, and Nate was fired, but the pair took their show on the road to her company, Newman Enterprises, where Vicky hired him to run her media division after ousting Sally. It all left a bad taste in the mouth of not only viewers, who have been hoping Victoria and Nate would one day get their just desserts, but also Victoria's brother Nick, who refused to believe Nate's apologies regarding the betrayal of his cousins were sincere and immediately developed suspicions about his burgeoning relationship with his new boss. When Nate and Victoria's corporate friendship turned romantic, Nick's worst fears were realized. Coming so soon on the heels of the deception of the late Ashland Locke, it was only natural he'd eye Nate with suspicion. Nate's insistence that he had genuine feelings for Victoria and no designs on the CEO chair fell on deaf ears with that one. With other Newmans, ambition isn't such a dirty word. Victoria was turned on by Nate's upwardly mobile outlook, and Victor admired it, to a point. After Victoria unceremoniously booted her bro from his COO position to hand it to Nate, Nick became convinced he'd been right about the former surgeon all along, and Nikki and Victor took a closer look at what was going on. Viewers, of course, knew that Nate was in cahoots with Audra to take over the top position at Newman, and have largely laughed it off. Why? As long as Victor's around, it will never happen. Indeed, Victor called a family meeting to put everyone on notice that he would be calling the shots again, and when Victoria and Nikki took off on a work trip and left Nate in charge, the Black Knight called Nate directly to the ranch to warn him not to get too comfortable in the CEO seat. No one who has not been Newman will ever run his company. The kicker? Victor added that Nate's late uncle Neil had butted heads with this policy in the past. Whether Nate sees himself as righting a wrong where Neil is concerned or simply wants to accomplish something that proved to be impossible for his late relative, there's no denying it was an added incentive to find a loophole. For someone with Nate's naked ambition, even Victor's decree isn't going to be enough to stop him. As for Victoria, she was set to share power with her last partner Ashland before his deceptions were devastatingly exposed. Learning exactly nothing from that experience, Victor's mini-me has set herself up for exactly the same kind of disappointment with Nate. Why? There's only one way around Victor's family-only policy, and that's to become a Newman. And there's only one way that Nate is going to become a Newman: by marrying Victoria. But would Nate and Audra's power plot really go so far as to have him propose to Victor's daughter in a bid to position himself to take over as CEO? We believe it would, and that it will. If Nate's next move is to propose to Victoria with an eye to eventually ousting her from her position as CEO, well, that's calculating and cold. We might even feel sorry for her. At the very least, it's complicated. Victoria has been very defiant toward her family members and their warnings where Nate is concerned, and quite power-hungry, which has made some eager to see her taken down a few, or maybe a few dozen, pegs. It's also frustrating to see her not learn from her experience with Ashland. On the other hand, it's tough to see someone give love another chance and get their heart broken by someone selfishly working an angle. Nate may have some genuine feelings for Victoria, but his eye is on the prize. She knows he's ambitious, but she's almost certainly convinced that he'll be happy to remain COO to her CEO forever. We know that's not the case thanks to his shady meetings with the equally upwardly mobile Audra, so chances are they will take their plot to the next step with the proposal. Do you think Nate will pop the question to Victoria in a bid to become a Newman family member? Let us know in the comments.